Hello and welcome for the Bevy Making Pong edition. So I just got back from holidays and I've decided I want to do something Bevy related, just like live streams more I guess, and I thought making Pong would be a nice little thing because it's simplistic enough that I can sort of go from start to finish in a single live stream rather than having to try and break everything up into like multiple videos and whatnot. And then I want to do like a Zoding's style, like edit out the stuff where it's not relevant to the content of the video and make like an hour-long video that I upload, or a 2-hour video of you know, the live stream with just the boring stuff cut out. To get started, I've set up a, if I open the right one, Bevy Pong. It's just got the basic Tomo and it's already compiled, so it should hopefully not take forever to start everything. So I guess the first thing we're going to jump into is making the paddles and making them controllable so they go up and down. I'll try and make them rebindable, put like a play button or something in place. Which I guess just starts with, we want probably an enum. So we can have main menu, playing, and then I've got to remember how to what you need. So we need to drive game state. It must just be state. States. Then when we save this, it's going to tell us that we need to derive default. So default, derive default. It's going to need clone copy equal are equal. What else do we need for state? I need debug apparently. Okay. And it needs hash. Okay. Alright, so then we want to go up here and be like, this is state. Should probably rename this to game state. Just so that it doesn't get confusing with the built-in Bevy state versus the game state. So what this will let us do is basically start up in main menu mode, and then you better click play and go in, or go into settings and change like player 1's controls and player 2's controls. So I guess we'll make a mod menu. Probably should have included something like belly to make really cool UI. Like I've been using that for my game jam game that I made, and I ported it all to belly, and boy is belly a good crate when you can finally get it working. There's some things that are a little bit difficult. It's like a little overly complicated for very simple stuff, but once you get it going, it's great. Alright, so first we need like a, probably want to say something like struct. Can I just do plugin? Plugin. Okay. And this is going to be menu. Plugin. Oh, no, I've got two cursors. And then we're going to go plugin again, and this is going to be main menu. Plugin, and this one I'm going to say isn't public, it's just something that the plugin menu adds. Wait, can I not just add a plugin? Oh no, because it had to be a plugin group. We also want to probably use Bevy prelude. Right. So build, and then this is takes itself. Okay. So we're gonna go Bevy app plugin group builder new. Default start. Let mute group equal. Alright, so we have our plugin group, and we're going to select group dot add main menu, and then we just return group. That works. I feel like we can literally just chain this. Why does start need one? Can I just change this? What do you mean type annotation needed? Cannot infer. Okay, start and then plugin group. Okay. Interesting. So that must be how it sets up the name and everything. All right, anyway. So we have our main menu plugin, because we also have a settings menu. So the main menu plugin is going to work by saying something like fn spawn main menu. That's going to be commands. And then so we're going to have to add system, add system, spawn startup menu dot in schedule on enter. And then this oh. The state is game state main menu. Alright, and then so that'll spawn that. And then we're going to go fn close main menu, and we're going to go add underscore system close main menu. This is going to work the same thing. Dot in schedule on exit of game state main menu. So that'll close the main menu. We probably want to have like a struct. One of the resource would be like menu. Root. Actually, maybe we'll call that a component. So the menu. So the menu root will just indicate the item that needs to be destroyed when the menu needs to be destroyed. So that means that we want to go commands dot spawn, and then we want to say something like a node bundle default with a menu root. Okay, and then we make this an enum. I'm just thinking of making it an enum because it means that I don't have to have like lots of structs all over the place. I can just say main and setting like that. So that would mean that like when I exit to another alternative thing, I can say like it doesn't just have to menus, like I could have like the UI and stuff also be included in this, and then it would just become like a UI root. So on close, we would need to query items, which is going to be a query for reference to menu root. We'll need entities as well, so it'll be like entity menu root, and we need commands as well, because it also means that I don't have to worry about the ambiguity of when the spawn and despawn run. So if the settings menu is loaded before the main menu is closed, it doesn't then delete the main menu because they're both menu roots. Nope, almost knocked my drink over. That would have been bad. For entity root in items, we want to go if let root equals, no, it's if let menu root main equals root, then we want to say command dot entity dot despawn recursive. One day they'll stabilize non-integer constants or whatever it's called, which means that I could make this take a generic, and that generic could be a const menu enum, and then replace that with the generic, and that would mean that whenever, like, you would just be able to say like, oh, close this menu and provide what the menu's indicator is, rather than needing to write a specific function for each menu. But that's not in stable Rust yet, so. And it's not even in the nightly, in the sense that you've got to enable a flag in order to be able to do it. I was doing it in my game jam game, but it then like caused problems because I tried to compile it for the game jam, and it was like, nope, you can't compile it because that needs an unstable version, and I didn't know how to convert the like pre-built template to use nightly Rust instead of stable Rust. Anyway, so we spawn our main menu, and then we go like dot with children p, and we want to say you'd probably need some kind of style implemented here. This is where Belly is really nice, is because you don't have to come up with lots of styles. It's been like 3 weeks since I used Belly. I don't want to go relearning it all. It's probably for the best though. We'll whack Belly in here. Is Belly even? No, it's not even on crates.io. To go here. Go here and go. Where is my Belly? Copy that. Back over here. This is you get to look through my horrible code and see me like try and work out how I made things work. So it's Elm. Okay. With okay. think this is the problem I was having with Belly the most, is you can give it like the default enum, like it gets tab here, but it means that like it's just the default tab. You can't specify a tab. You have to use a variable like this. You can't, it doesn't like if I was like tab, I think it's world or something. It would complain because it doesn't pass it properly. So you have to only pass in defaults. Anyway, we're just gonna quickly grab like a very default minimalistic thing, and then we'll pop back to here, and then it goes like this. We say command, I'll just paste it in, commands.command, and then it's well, I guess it's div, and this is going to be called menu, and it's width equals right, this is what it means. So we have to go up here and we have to be like let root equal menu root main. Like you can't just put this down here. You've got to actually specify it earlier and then use it. Anyway, so div, and then we say button. Gotta remember how to do this. Like that's what I'm saying. Belly's incredible, but a little bit convoluted to set up. Like, if you were working on a group project or anything, and like you had someone that was doing the UI, Belly would save you so much time. But if you were doing something like by yourself, it's such a learning curve to put it together. It's also like partly because I already know what I need to do. Just steal this pop over here, and we go new folder, assets, and just paste that color picker in there. Then we have to do something really bizarre to get Belly to work properly. I don't remember how you load the thing. I'm just going to close this because I'm going to keep ending up opening that by accident. I'll probably also close the dragon generator for now. Okay, so UI menu mod. How do I set up? I probably want to search here for something like .dss. Probably don't need that bit, but okay, style sheets. So we need to put that in our main setup. So main menu. So we're gonna menu. We're probably gonna do another plugin. Feel like plugin. It's gonna be called like core menu. Actually, menu core makes more sense. Menu core, like so, and then that's just gonna be like app dot add underscore system set up underscore belly. It's going to be dot on underscore startup. Okay, and then we're going to go here. We're going to go like app. fn setup belly, which just needs access to commands and just runs that command. Except it's not in there anymore. It's just there. Alright, so the ESS is like a modified style sheet, like a CSS that you would use in HTML, and just lets you basically set everything up. I'm just copying one from another project because it's just, you know, if I knew how to write CSS, I wouldn't need to do this. Again, it's that whole, like, if you're working in a team and had someone that this was their entire thing, wouldn't be a problem. But I haven't touched this stuff in like 3-4 weeks, so it's all gone in terms of like, I know that you can do width, height, and flex direction and stuff, but it's just not nearly as intuitive to I have to go back and remember everything. Anyway, so we set up belly, so we should probably say dot add menu core. Right, we need to just turn that. Right, and this is bellies, probably under prelude. Yeah, I can boost my microphone volume a bit. I just like, I never want to make it so loud because otherwise I end up feeling like I'm drowning everything out. But find the right thing. Why is here? I don't know how to turn it up in OBS specifically. I can pan it apparently. Volume. If I add 1 decibel, is that better? Is it loud enough now? Yeah, it's the issue with the music is I can barely hear it on my end, but like, it's also like very spontaneously different. You have to, yeah, I'll give you a minute to catch up to see if that's loud enough. Let's go back in there. Just don't want to turn it up so loud that it drowns everything else out. I guess it's a bit hard with that. As long as it's not peaking, I'm probably loud, not too loud. Prelude. The other thing is, I've got my set up so that it feeds back my microphone into my headphones, but it's not the same. It's not the same level as what you see through OBS. So as I turn OBS up, I have no idea at what point I'm going to get too loud. I can only just look to make sure I'm not clipping. I'll give it 2 more decibels, so it's +4. That's if it's even getting louder at all. I'm assuming that's what this setting is doing. If not, I'm just being a crazy person. I can put it in. Oh, now I'm double hearing myself. This is pretty weird. Okay, let me turn that up. Monitor and output. So is it actually getting louder, or am I just tweaking a knob that's not actually doing anything? Why is this not working? Prelude. What's broken down here? Email. So I should just use the belly prelude. Okay, use belly. Sure, yeah, it's got a prelude. Okay. And I think that's where Starsheet came from. Yeah, so. So we got our Starsheet and our color, loading our color picker, ESS. What's your problem? You need to close the button. Alright, so you probably want to go like, this will be our closing button, and then we want to go as a label, value equals play. Need a closing tag on this one, like that. And then we can do this one, and we go value equals setting. So this is a menu. This is a let's see. Well, I guess it works like that. So it's menu and then menu buttons. So when we go back to main here, we need to definitely add plugins. And then say, what was it? Let's go like, we're going to go to menu plugin. Plugins. Okay, so with our menu, we start in main menu. When we enter main menu, we spawn the belly div. So we want to go into I copy and paste this, I'm just going to immediately delete like 90% of it. So we want to say like, this is why I leave this. You're gonna leave enough that I can like look at the syntax. That's the tricky part. Alright, just trim this down a little bit. We'll say up here, we want to go something like menu. So it's not that, it's dot menu, because the menu is a class, not thing. And we want to say that the width of the menu is 66% of the width of the screen. The height is auto. The background dash color is dark gray. I don't know if that'll work. It should, but otherwise I'll have to just be like hash, you know, 0C, 0C, 0C or something. Let's run that and see if that's going to work while I continue working on this, because it's going to take a while to recompile belly. So you have the right root, you spawn these two buttons. So the way that I remember this working is that you can, and this is like the advantage of using belly over anything else, I don't need to try and decipher exactly how I want the UI to look right away. We probably also want to go here and be all like dot set asset plugin, watch for changes. I said watch for changes. True. Okay, so what this will do is make the asset server watch for changes, and because of how Belly is designed, which is really nice and neat way of doing it, is when I add this style sheet, because it's a command that I'm adding, it'll go through and basically execute a whole bunch of little things. Like it'll call the asset server and tell it to load this, and then it'll put all the handles in the right places so that it all meshes nicely, and I don't have to worry about it not working properly. Like, I mean, like, all I have to do is tell Bevy to watch for changes. I don't have to tell Belly additionally on top to watch for changes, because it just sets it up and uses the internal Bevy stuff, which is just so nice. Tie this up. Just need things like the fact that I need to remember that hash is name dots class, and this is with nothing, it's just the raw thing. Because then, in theory, what I could do is go like dot menu space button, and we could say that its background color is white. We'll just go with FF. And then I'm gonna have to go look up Belly's stuff, its documentation. Okay, so then we can also do a colon, and then you go like this, and you go that, and you say button hover, not dot content, but you know. Okay, button hover, and then you say its color is I guess like black. Right, so then you would want to say something like button hover content color is white, and button dot content his color is black. So as long as black background color is This is what, because Belly constructs everything out of like sub-entities, which means that even though I haven't specified anything to be called content, content may then become like you need to call it content because the button itself, you can then also pass in like a flat flag. It all gets very confusing. But what you'd want to do is be all like a button, and then we want to be like C content, like that. And same with you, C content. Just pop into Belly prelude. We're gonna go into the widgets. Oh, apparently Belly contains the Bevy prelude in its prelude. Widget prelude. Input prelude. Button. Okay, it says button group button. Styles button star. So parameters pressed boolean. Button pressed. So this is the structure of the button. If you say it's flat, it'll just be the button. But by default, it has, you know, the button. So button class button, interceptable. Then there's a button shadow, button background, and then button foreground, and then content. So it really does stack them up, almost to the point that I'd probably. Well, that'd be another thing. It'd be really nice if Belly was integrated with the current Bevy editor, please, because at the moment I don't know enough about Belly to go in there and modify the source code to make it so that you can like see what classes things are. So it's kind of like you've just got to know how you've structured your data. You can't just go in there and be like, oh, what classes are on this thing, because it just says you need to implement reflect on this or whatever. So the editor can't actually read it. Anyway, almost done. I guess we'll go back to working on the menu. In theory, the way that this is set up at the moment is that the menu is 60% of the screen and its height's automatic, so it should fit both. I might have to do something like justify content. Just do this. Justify content, center. Oh, that's what I'm missing. I need to pop back over here and go, it's this settings file. If I copy this, then pop back over to here, and then paste. No, don't paste it in there. Move it up a layer, and then we go and get rid of the launch thing because I'm not using that. But oh, it crashed. Okay, great. Yes, it's moved to a second bit. Okay, so what this does is it just says that if you find anything with an ESS file extension, treat it as a CSS file extension. And that means that we get all this lovely context highlighting. And now we've got to try and work out why it crashed. So schedule on enter main menu. I probably put things in the wrong. Yeah, we need to add the state, then add the plugin. Yay! Yeah. I just forgot because like I was going like I remember it always like giving me suggestions and shit, but then it wasn't, and then it's because yeah, you gotta tell it. The only issue with doing this is because ESS is not exactly the same as CSS. Like if I pop over to my old project here and open up the what's it going? Assets UI. Yeah, it bitches like about position type absolutely. It goes, I don't know what position type is. So hopefully at some point, because of how well produced and like documented Belly is, they will release like a plugin that does ESS specifically, so that it actually has like all of the parameters and doesn't complain about the ones that it's like, I don't know this one, why are you using it? But now I've got to work out why it crashed this time. What is your problem? This is the fun part about Bevy. At least the, you know, like everyone gives Rust credit that it really deserves, is the fucking like the error messages are actually like usable. So what did it say that it did? So it got there and it goes main menu, request resource Belly CSS styles does not exist in the world. Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? I didn't put the Belly plugin in. So we add that plugin and then we go like add plugin Belly prelude Belly plugin. That would explain why it can't find the resource. Okay, so it also now tells me that dark gray is definitely acceptable color. Hey, okay, and this is the beauty of Belly. To put this somewhere where I can't really do both at the same time. Usually I put it on my other monitor, but then you guys can't see it. But if I go menu, and we say flex direction columns, or is it rows? Oh, why is it not hot reloading? Why are you not working? This is one of those annoying things. I'm gonna have to chuck the Bevy editor, please. Okay. Oh, wait, I've already got the Bevy editor, please plugin. I just haven't added it to my game. Okay. Add plugin Bevy editor, please. Editor plugin. Because this will allow me to assess what actual setting I need to change. But in theory, I don't know why it didn't work. Maybe I didn't do hot reloading properly. It also would help if I knew what rows and columns, you know, the difference. Because it is dot menu, and we did do flex direction, so it should have worked. Maybe I just ran the game. No, because I definitely rebuilt it since I changed that. I was wondering if maybe it just like didn't pick up on this change. I mean, there's a chance that I didn't control S this before I launched it, so it didn't have hot reloading running. But the hot reloading is just absolutely phenomenal. Like if you want to tweak the size of something instead of having to like mess around with the editor and then write down the numbers and save them, it's like you can just literally be like, what was it? And then we want to go style, and we go flex direction row, flex direction columns. So columns is definitely what we want, but why the hell does it not work in here? Columns. I mean, it kind of must have just not saved the main DRS. So we want to say like margin order. No, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? So weird. Why is my hot reloading not working? Don't make a liar out of me. It definitely works. Wait, maybe column. Okay, so that just tells me that I probably spelled menu differently somewhere. Almost certainly in your class, no? Weird. What have I done wrong? Dot menu. Well, I've clearly done something wrong. Okay, wait. I encountered an error and a path not found. Okay, so it's not. It's not finding why Bevy Pong. Best for assets? Oh wait, no, that's what's wrong. The assets folder is inside the scripts folder, which is not where that belongs. So now if I Control S that. Okay, let's try relaunching that, because I guess it doesn't do change detection when it didn't find the asset. Okay, right. The one issue I have with Visual Studio Code is it's so hard to get things to go into the outermost folder. I always end up with things inside folders, because you just like click here and you go, I want to go to new folder, and it's like it puts it inside. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, that looks hideous, but I think I've got that backwards. I want it to be like black when you hover it. Alright, let's just get rid of the hover stuff then, because it's clearly not working. So what's happening there? So on button hover, you set your background color black, and on hover. Okay. So get rid of the hover stuff, get rid of the content stuff. Just because apparently the default style sheet already has something about like when you hover. Okay. See? And with Belly, we have a main menu really goddamn fast. And then I'm just going to quickly open up over here. Then we're just going to really quickly show you the actual magic of Belly, because you go on, oh yeah, but you just made a UI that probably took longer than doing it by hand. But what I can do now is say on press equals run. We want to say next state game state I actually wrote an issue about this. I think they said what you do is you go C, which is you, and then you go C dot and then you go like CTX. Just trying to find so it must be like C dot commands dot add world, and then we just say like world dot resource mute next state game state dot 0, or I guess dot set game state. This is play. Alright. So then E type annotation. Is immutable access to the world. I think it's that. Okay. And then in theory I should be able to take this and then put it here as well, but change it to not running, not playing, but settings. Alright. Button on press. Okay. Let's open my OBS. Just say it's gone in the chat. settings menu. Alright, so what I've done is I've said, hey Belly, add a listener that says, when I press this button, run this command, or run this code. It takes in a context, which I believe, if I remember correctly, is like a... It's hard to explain. It's like a Belly's equivalent of commands, like where it's a lightweight structure that's given to it that has things like access to the commands, access to like queries, something like that. Like so, or like it's events and stuff like that. It's weird. Event context. I don't know how to get into that. But yeah, so it has access to like the event that fired this, so you'd be able to get like, I guess, where the mouse clicked and stuff like that. And then so I can access the underlying commands component. Can I actually get that to get into event context? Yeah. So it is a source event, a time. So you have access to the time resource, the asset server, all the elements, which is actually how it gets access to the entities. The elements is again a sub version of the commands. So like then you have access to all the Belly stuff, and you can like query based on their names and stuff. Anyway, so what it does is I'm then inserting an ad hoc command that just gets world access at the end of the stage, and then sets the next state to being playing or setting, depending on which menu button you click. So if this all works according to plan, I should be able to click and automatically like the menu should close, because the way I have it configured is as soon as we leave the main menu state, the menu closes. And we are in the playing state because we clicked playing. So next we're going to add a, I guess, this is going to be the fun bit. I'm adding settings because I want the key bindings to be rebindable, just because I think it'd be an interesting challenge to do rebindable key bindings. So, and this would be, so the closing of the settings menu is literally just change this to settings. Okay, you work exactly the same. So then we want to like basically just copy this, whack it in here, do that. Okay, so then we have, this is settings, this is settings, this is, so what we can do is go settings. Okay, so this one's gonna, again, we're gonna change this to setting, because that's another thing, is like a lot more easy to duplicate code, because I'm just changing setting here, and it's like the only spot that is relevant is here. So the settings is gonna obviously be laid out a little bit differently. So what we're gonna do is, because you can definitely bind to resources. It's that's why I'm just like trying to work through the early things. Is key and run underscore name. There's definitely a way to bind to like resources. Yeah, there it is. No, there's bind Bevy from count. Okay, there's a way to do it. I'll work it out after this because it's going to be important. So what we'll do is we're going to have, I guess, a struct here. Player keybind. Right, and this is going to have player 1. I guess what we should do is go like key bindings, and this is, and then we're going to say player 1 is going to have a this is a struct. Thank you. Okay, key binding. Then we're going to have a player 2 key binding. Alright, and so key binding is going to have an move up, which is just going to be a key code, and a move down, which is also a key code. Alright, so this is a resource. Weird. Alright, we are also going to need to be all like, we need Sir D. And was it PKV? Let's again jump back into this code, look at our Tommel, wherever the fuck that's got to. It's in here somewhere. Bevy PKV. There, so for those that haven't seen other stuff on my channel, PKV is a platform agnostic storage system that lets you basically serialize and deserialize things, and it'll, based on the platform, decide how it's going to store it. So that's, you know, on web it'll store it in cookies, on computer it'll store it in a specific place specified by like where you tell it to save it. So what we'll do is we'll go when we're adding our plugins, we're going to be like add plugin Bevy PKV. I think I don't remember how this works. I'll set up in a minute. You've got to specify like an organization name and a game name, and that's how it structures the file system when it gets to it. Is that it basically put serialize and deserialize. Alright, and then this one also needs to derive resource. No, not resource. Just serialize and deserialize. So I don't know what the fuck's going on here. It's just having a little bit of a fit. What was I doing? I was going here. I was going fucking text goes go to output. What is your problem? I really have no idea what your problem is. It's just fucking soddy. What are you complaining about? Like, you're not rendering any issues, so I don't... Okay. I think maybe it's not a plugin. Maybe we just we must just insert reset. Insert. Why are you like this? What happened to my syntax highlighting? Why have you broken? Boy, are you doing my head in. Okay. If I get you to save and like, are you gonna tell me there's another issue somewhere else? What the fuck is going on? Yes, okay, so to go in to here and be all like version features. Is it SERD or is it serialize? I think it must be serialized because the Rust Analyze doesn't like it. Okay. Version failed to yeah. Version that meets the requirement. Okay, I'm very confused. Okay, we go back into here and be like, it must be serialized. Unit, stop pitching now. Let's quickly pop over here and be like, Bevy. We want to crates.io, just have a quick squiz on crates.io. I wish there was a more convenient way, like at least I don't know of any more convenient way of finding out all the features that are available on a specific like version. Like for example, there's like the only way I can work out what the features are is to go to crates.io and go like, there's 53 features that Bevy lets you enable and disable. And it is called Serialize. S-E-R-I-A-L. O-Z. Okay. So it's no longer bitching. Okay. About fucking time. So then I guess it must just be a specific resource that we insert rather than so we go like Bevy PKV, we go PKV store new. Oh, there's a with qualification. Creates and opens PK store. Like, oh, that's cool. Anyway, organization is J-E-S-T-U-S. P-H-A-E-S-T-U-S-F-O-X. And the game is Pong. Okay. So the PKV store is now inserted, and anything I want to serialize or deserialize can be done. So then we would want to do something like this. It'd be like import from world for player key bindings, and then we go from world, and we go let PKV equal world.resource Bevy PKV store, like so, and then we go if let okay bindings equals PKV dot get. Has mine been released yet? No, it still takes a string. I made a request to the PKV, which obviously hasn't made it to the crates yet, that makes like the get and the set and everything take in a anything that implements into string rather than specifically a string slice, because anything that implements into a string slice rather than specifically a string slice means that you can use yeah, no, I think it was just bitching that it didn't have the version. So it's saying, hey, there's no version greater than 0.10 that has SIR-D as a feature. So I guess they either renamed it, so it's saying, hey, there's one older, or it's just the default error message. It was because I called it SIR-D and not serialize. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, I changed it, and I think they've accepted, even merged the pull request on the GitHub that lets you basically use an enum here instead, as long as the enum implements into str. And this is going to be keybind. So that, like, I liked it because I can never spell things the same more than once. So to me, it was like, it's really nice to just be able to make an enum and like be like, hey, I need this thing out of my store, or I need this thing. But it also doesn't lock you into using a specific enum. It's literally like it converts the enum that the IntelliSense can take care of into a string that the actual PKV store does. Anyway, so we return binding, otherwise we return a player key binding. Player 1 is going to be a key binding, where move up is going to be key code W, and move down is going to be key code for key key code S. Okay, so that's player 1, and then player 2 is going to be okay. Move up will be key code up, and move down will be key code. I feel like the music is just constantly getting louder. I hope I'm still louder than it. It is very loud. Okay, up, down, down, up. Okay. Let's track down the lo-fi. Be like, can I turn that down like 1 notch? So it just got really loud. And I don't think I ever turned it up. It just kept playing louder and louder music. Anyway, so again, because it's supposed to be educational for people to watch without me just bitching about everything the whole time, is so the way this is working is I have a key binding resource, and when I initialize the key binding resource, it will check to see if there's a saved version, and it'll return that. Otherwise, it'll create a default version that has, you know, W and S up and down as the 2 players, and we'll return that instead. Which means when we pop up here and we are like init resource, and we go player key bindings, and just like that, we have a way of saving the player's input. Because the fun thing is now when we go to our settings here, we want to say something like we will spawn. We don't need this random bit of text. So this is a menu and the root, and then we want to be all like probably something like div, and then, you know, a closed div, obviously. Oh, closed div. This one is going to be, it's going to have like a label called value player 1 space, and close that. And then we're going to have a label. No, yeah. It's gonna be a button with a. Can I say value? I don't know. We'll just go like this. I mean, the other way to do it would be is, you know, let's go. So we go button, and then we go close button, obviously. And then we go, because I want to show off more belly as part of what I'm doing this for. I'm just trying to think of ways to do it that aren't going to be like overly complicated. We want to say this one has a label that's value equals from, and then we want to go let me just reopen up belly on my other monitor and just be all like, there's a way to do this. So we want to say that bind value container. Alright, so we want to bind from, and we want to say something like player key bindings player 1, and then we want to pipe it into the fmt.c. Wait, where's C coming from? Okay, C is the value passed in, I guess? I don't know. Oh, fuck, this is... Pipe the transformer. And then we want to say up. And then we want to bind C. Don't complain, don't complain, don't complain. Ah, fuck. Oh, key bindings doesn't implement clone. Well, that seems easy enough. Okay, key bindings doesn't implement display. Yeah, but it's not. Okay, I want to just up. Can I do this? Wait, it's move up. Then this would be C. No, not B, C. Bevy prelude key code does not. Oh, doesn't implement display. From resource key bindings key code is not implemented. Huh. Okay, can I do this C dot up, move up, and it's not C, it's just, does that work? Cannot infer type. Okay. Why do you need to infer the type? You know the type is key bindings. Okay, but you know what move up is. Okay, do we then this is that fun thing of like, Belly is amazingly powerful, but just somewhat tedious sometimes. So we want to implement keybinds, and we want to be like up. Fn up, which will return, must take itself. This will return a key code, and this will just return self dot move. Yeah, when you say up, move down. That makes perfect sense. And then this one's move down, and this one's just go down. Alright. It's got to be the from. Yeah. From. Okay. Forms are from. Okay, so property. Okay, I can just say PL1 dot see what it's saying is from resource with transformer C is not implemented for variant. So what I don't get is it saying like I can't turn a key code into a string, but it's like, what? I thought you could take anything in. Entity, okay, so resource property. Transformer method. Yeah, so the fuck does from return? Okay, so can I take player and then go dot up? Type annotation needed. But you know what your type is. Let C equals string. Oh, well, that seems very confusing. Let C equals string, let C equal key binding. Type annotation needed. Well, it says that it's key binding. Like, I don't get it, because it's saying it can't infer the type, but it's like it very clearly is inferring the type, like the. Maybe I should just run it. Maybe it's just purely a Rust analyzer issue. Okay, while that's compiling, just copy this again, but this time it's going to be down. And this one's just going to say. See, like it can infer. It knows. Like the IntelliSense knows, and that's what's confusing. Is if the IntelliSense knows, how does the actual main one not know? Okay, so just for my settings menu, I'm gonna click. No, we want to. Let's pop back up here and copy this state, just because it's so many things to derive. So we're gonna say this is set binding. Set binding. So the default is going to be none. P1 up, P1 down, P2 up, P2 down. Okay, and then each of these buttons is going to have the same concept as these ones. Is basically changing. So on press run this command on each of those buttons. So I need to go space paste, space paste. All right, so this would be not game state, but set binding. Set binding P1 up. Set okay, so this is P1 down. Okay, and then this one would be set binding P2 up, and then set binding P2 down. So basically what's going to happen is it's going to set the state of this particular state to a particular form when you click it, and then what we'll do is we'll come down here and be all like fn set key binding, and this is going to be fun because what we'll do is we'll go state, and it's going to be a res state set binding. So now we know which binding we're trying to set, and then we're also going to go events, and we're going to go event reader. Oh, did it for me. Events. Then we want to say keyboard input. Keyboard input, key code, button state. Okay, and then we're going to say for, yeah, see, cannot infer type. Does anyone know how to like annotate the type without breaking things? I'm pretty sure I can't just do this. Pretty sure it's gonna say expected one of, yes, like it's saying I can't just infer the type. And I don't think like that, you can't be like, so it's saying it can't infer the type, and I can't tell it the type. Could I do something like let C key code equal up C? No, because it can't infer the type. That's the issue. You know you're a reference to key binding. Cannot infer the type of up. What was it called? Move up. Type annotation needed. Cannot infer type. Yeah, so it knows that it has a reference to something, but no idea what that reference is. So despite the fact that the compiler seems to be able to work out what it is in editing, it can't, or like the Rust analyzer can work it out, the compiler can't. That's bizarre. I don't know what's going on. It's very confusing. So can we let C equal C, which is a reference to key binding, equals C, and then C dot move up. What do you mean? There's no transformer from... Weird. But you're supposed to be turning it into a string. Huh. So I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. No variant. Can I go like debug? No, it's like, could I call like to string? Doesn't implement display. But how do I call debug? Maybe I could just pop back over here and say, when I say up, I want you to return me a string. And do the same. You return me a string. And then just return me like format. I mean, you could just literally do it all formatted here. Just be like down. Just like that. Now you return a string. Yeah, it doesn't implement display. Hello. Do it. Same with you. Do it. But you say up. And you say move up. Alright. So that should format that should format that, and then instead of even bothering to format, we could literally just pass it in. You want a reference to a string or a reference to a reference from a string? A variant print input. Maybe dot c. Can I just pipe that in? What do you mean? Why can I not convert directly from a string to a string? This is very confusing. It's like, yeah, you cannot combine a string to a string. Binding transformers. Data transformation. Yeah. So it's all very confusing. Okay. How did I boot up speech recognition? That's confusing. I don't get it. So you're telling me that from doesn't work? It doesn't make any sense. You're saying I can't... Is it because your value needs to be a fucking... No, it's because your value definitely needs to be a string. Fucking common prelude. Label. Yeah, your value is just a string, so it's not that you need this to definitely be. We can't just be like a reference to up. Not satisfied. Yeah, so you're saying that this needs to be a resource that we specifically specify. And I can't. You're saying that the transformer doesn't work. The fuck? It's doesn't make any sense. I'm sure I've done this before. Maybe I should just go into here and be like in my UI. I 100% did this for my key binding. In here, like settings. Sensitivity, set changes, sensitivity value to absolute. Okay. Unknown button. New button equals match. This one's specific buttons. But I still print them. So maybe where do I render this? Player settings. Save settings, update camera settings. But when do I render this? It's got to be in menu, right? Detect changes, open menu. Spawn setup menu. Spawn settings menu. See? Just bind value, camera, sensitivity. Don't even format into anything. Maybe that's the problem. I'm literally not specifying bind. It'd be really funny if that's the problem. Yep. Can we go up? No, dot move up. What's your problem? Yeah, so this would be like up. And then this one is bind value, C, down. This would be, again, C. And then this one would be dot move down. Okay. And then I think I'll just copy, both of these down here rather than have to work that whole thing out again. Paste those two in, but it's P2 this time. Okay, so that should now pull the resources out and display the currently bound key. When clicked, it'll set this mode. Then we go for event in events. Bitter. That took way longer than it should have. No, that's what I'm saying. Like it was such a weird compiler issue because it's the underlying macro that was complaining. What it needed to be was I needed to say bind value equal from, because that did the type inferring. Because so instead it was saying like you can't make this. What was it? It was trying to turn this binding into a value that can be put into the string, as opposed to making it a binding that would then create the value that gets put in the string. So it's partly like, again, I haven't used Belly in so long, like that's hence I was like looking through everything, and it's like nowhere is it talking about the bind thing. It's only until I tabbed over to my other code and I went, right, if you want to bind a value as opposed to set a value, you've got to say bind, then the parameter that you're binding. So it's a little unintuitive, and I think that's to do with Rust's type system. Just, they're trying to not necessarily fight the system, but like make it automated, which means that they have to put a specific keyword in so that they can make all the changes they need to make to distinguish between two things that it's like normally the compiler would infer, but because they're writing their own sort of language on top, they can't have the compiler doesn't have that kind of inferring capability. Anyway, so we're gonna be all like, let new none new underscore key equals none. We also need new next, which is going to be a res mute next state set binding. So we set this to none, and then we go through each key and we go if let some key bind equals event dot key code. First I'm going to say like if event dot state, this is a button state, equals no, does not equal button state pressed. Continue, not return. Don't return, continue. Alright, so it basically just means if you let go of a key while it's searching for a key, it won't count that as the same as pressing a key, because yeah, kind of important that. Okay, then we say if let some key binding equals the key code, right? Then we do this, and we go, okay, we probably want to go something like const band underscore keys, which is going to be an array of key codes. That's going to be, for now, I'm going to say probably ban 2 specific key codes, because I can think of them immediately being like someone's going to set them by accident and it's going to fuck with everything, which is going to be key code escape and key code enter. Is it return? Yeah, return. Alright. Okay. If ban keys dot contains key find continue. Okay. Yeah, you want it reference. There we go. Okay. So just for future proofing it, you can't set the key the same as the banned keys, and the banned keys are just going to be things like if I ever go like escape brings the menu back up, you won't be allowed to bind your up to escape because it's just idiotic, and these will be hard-coded things like escape is exit. So then we're going to set, so if it has a key code, then we're going to say new key equals some key bind. Alright, so basically the way we go, and then we know if let some new, we want access to, well, we're going to want pkv, it's going to be res pk, maybe pkv. You'll see why we need the pkv in a second, but then we're also going to want new bindings, which is going to be res mute player keybinds. Right, so there's our player keybinds. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if let some new equals new key. So if it found a new key, we are going to match the state. Then we're gonna go, hey, can you, oh, no, that one. No? What? No. Fuck. Oh, right, state.0. Okay, then we go fill missing ups. Okay, so none should be unreachable, and you'll see why in a minute. But it's more or less, I'm gonna only run this function when it's not none. So, okay, P1 up. So, to future-proof it or not to future-proof it? We probably should future-proof it, but it just means a lot of duplicate code. Well, I mean, I guess the way to do that then would be to go here. We're not using this anymore. We need to impl player keybinds fn set. This is going to take in a mute self, the player, which is going to be just a I guess we'll just call it player 1 and make it a boolean because I don't want to make an enum at the moment. I'm just kind of being lazy. So we have our so set, we specify what player we want, and then 2, which is going to be our key code. All right. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to say right, and we need to also say player and up, which is also going to be a boolean, and then 2. So we're going to say I'm trying to think of like an idiomatic way of making it check to see if there's a key binding and swapping those keys if they conflict. The issue is that the only way I see doing that is to just like completely conflict. So first off, we need to say something like let old equal match player 1 and up. Okay, so with a nice match of this, we can be all like, we can check all 4 possible states. So true would be self.player1.up. Okay, true false would be self.player1.down. False would be self.player2.move up, and then self.player2.move down. All right, so this will just get the old one, and then we're going to say, well, I guess while we're at it, we should be all like, no, we should really associate the old. I feel like this matching is gonna become like redundant in that we're gonna match again. So hopefully the compiler will take care of this, or you know, it's such a tiny amount of code that it doesn't really matter that I'm just copying and pasting it a whole bunch. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna match, and we're gonna say that this, and then we're gonna go magic fingers equals 2. All right. So we get old set new and then we're gonna replace dupe with old. Okay, so then we're gonna say for, I don't know, I in 0 dot dot. I wish there was like a inverse else, you know? Well, I mean, the one way to do that would be like, to go like, wow, but this is getting incredibly dumb. Like this is getting to like the not recommended. Going to be like true, false. This is just all coming off the top of my head as well. There may be a better way. Zip. Because I believe all arrays just have use of unstable. Okay. Does that work? Well, one of them's an array. So. That's really dumb. But that should, in theory, go true, 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 false, true, true, false, true, false, false. Probably a terrible way of doing it. There may even be a way that's built in, because it seems like something you might want to do is iterate through all possible permutations like this. But anyway, then we just simply go match that and go interesting. Anyway, we want to go continue. Continue. Why can I not spell? Continue. Not that. No. And then we want to. Okay. So what's happening here is we're going to iterate through the 4 possible player controls. Then we're going to match them. If they're equal, skip it. This is my way of being like, I want to skip specifically I don't want to check to see if the key that you're currently setting is set that way. And then we're going to say if, we have to match it again. Because again, we're just trying to fetch the actual specific thing. So it'd be like if da 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 da. So we're going to match that. And then we're going to say let, I guess the way that would work is you take this one, you say paste this and let current equal, and then you say if current equals 2, match. This is getting insanely stupid. So let the current equal get the currently set thing for all but the one that, you know, we currently set to. And then we say if current equals what we're setting to, then equals old. Except don't match though, just if current set old. Wait, why do you mean? What? Match. Ah, wait. No. It's not match. It's if. Player one up equals. Wow. Then continue. Right, that makes sense. Thank you, Rust compiler. I would have never caught that. It's like, you can't reach this code. No. If the player and up match this iteration, skip it. otherwise get the current value, otherwise if current equals to match. Okay, so get the old value, set the new value, go through all of them. If it's the current one we're setting, don't care. Otherwise, get its current value. If it's the same as what we just set it to the old value. This will mean that you are able to flip them like so, if you bind it to something that already exists. So then, up here, we would go bindings dot set. So this is P1, so this would be true, new, true, new. Then we go Control C. Bip, bip. Stop clicking other buttons. So this would be true, false. This would be false, false, false. And then they all set no. Okay. So we basically say binding set true, new, true, false, new, false, true, new, false, false, new, based on its current mode. Then we say next equals next dot set, and then that should be set binding for none. We basically say if you pick a key that you want to reassign, once we've reassigned that key, we no longer assigning a key. So if you click a different one, it'll go to that one rather than like queuing, you know, I want to reassign this one, then that one. You can just do one at a time. But then we go pkv dot why can't I store anything? What is the inner, because it's independent, it's the back end. And preload release set pkv set. But, okay, yeah, so it's just not picking up on it for some reason, and we want to set bindings. So we can just give you a reference because it's serializable. And then the thing is we want to go down here, when keybind. This is why I make it a, so I don't have to go copy paste shit. Anyway, the trait bound, okay, right, but we want to, like, is it dereference, reference? No, it must be reference dereference, or reference the dereferenced value. And then we just don't return anything. Well, I guess if let e equals, then we want to just be like error e. Okay. Okay. So there's our band keys. So we want to go up here. We want to go menu. Okay, input plugin menu core. So we want a new menu. We want to go plugin, like so, and this is going to be our settings. Settings plugin. Okay, and then we go like app.add underscore system. Okay. Right, these two should actually be in the settings plugin of its own. There we go. Just move these into their own little like thing. We'll be right. Just tidying things up. Okay, so the way that this is going to work, we should also say dot like add settings plugin. Alright, so split that all up. So the settings here, and we're going to say you need to be all like not spawn set keybind. Okay, and then we're going to go dot run dot run. Let's go if. Am I not using? I'm using the Bevy preload. Why are you not working? Run if takes one argument, and then it's something like resource. No, state. In state. So we're gonna say like not in state. This is really dumb. It's not menu. It's set binding. None. Okay, and then we want to be like add state. Okay, so again, for the educational purposes of people trying to follow along what I'm doing, I'm adding a state, literally called set binding, which tells it what key we are currently assigning. And then we go add state. We're adding a system called set key binding, which is what is in charge when we click the specific button in the menu of actually running the logic that reassigns it to a key. We only run this system if we are not in the none state. So only if we are trying to assign a key do we run this logic. The way this logic works is that we look at what state we're in. We check every keyboard input. If that keyboard input assigns to a key, which means, sorry foreign people, you can't use this because you have to have key code ones, not But anyway, there's just to stop like weird abstract keys from working and to make it just easier to track things. So we check to see if any key is being pressed that can be assigned. If it has a key code and isn't one of the banned keys, which at the moment is escape and enter, we then set that as our new key. So we just check that for the entire thing. So if you press multiple keys, I don't know if it's be random or what order the operating system sends the key presses in. Probably like lowest key code to highest key code. So it'll always be the highest key code. Anyway, so it goes through all key presses. And then if there is a key that was pressed, it will set, according to the mode we're in, the correct key binding, which will flip if you set up or W for up on one and then W on another one. It'll put whatever one the other one was. So it's impossible to have multiple duplicate keys. So then we set the mode to none because we've assigned the key that you specified you wanted to assign. And then the critical thing to remember is we save these settings so that next time you launch the game, your settings are recovered. That's how I tend to do it, is whenever I change a setting, I save the setting rather than, like saving it every 10 minutes or something. Whereas when you're doing like a world, you probably want to save every 10 minutes because you don't want to, every time the player places something, it changes the whole world. Anyway, so if we click settings, we end up in here, player 1, player 2. We should probably label these so that we can make them in the center. Up, W, down, S, up, up, down, down. Okay, W. Oh, wait, what? Why is that not working? Oh, I was so looking forward to this working first time. Interesting. So, I guess one thing we can do is feel like fn. No, we don't want to be in menu. We want to be all like fn in under state. Okay, let's make this a TUA state. Then we're gonna be like state res state t, and we just be like info into info info. You are in state. State dot zero. Okay, cool. Yeah, the states don't input display. They input debug though. And then we want to be all like core. No, it would be you. Wait, what mismatch to set binding? What do you mean? Mismatch types. Anyway, we'll just add this system quickly. Feel like add underscore system in state. Oh wait, that's what I want to call it. Let's call it name state. That would be why it was complaining. So we go net, not in state. We're gonna say something like name state dot run if in no is state changed. And then we want to say this is set binding. Set binding. And then this one was also going to be like set binding. Alright, so if the state changes, tell me what state I'm in. Primarily, only reason I'm doing this is just I want to see if it's that I'm not going into the state and therefore it's the belly button's not working. Okay, or whether it's like the actual logic that assigns the keys is not working. Oh, I clicked play. Whoops. Okay, we should also just be like back to main underscore menu. Then we're going to go like next is just going to be next state, game state, input, so just res input key binding, no, not key code, we key code, and then we just say if input dot just pressed key code escape. I'm gonna say like next dot set game state main menu. Okay. Oh, I need to mutate, make you mutable. Okay, back to main menu. Okay, then we're gonna come down here and be like dot add underscore system back to main menu. Alright, cool. Anyway, back here, settings. Why are you complaining? The trait bound FN. Oh, because it's res. Okay, anyway. P2 up. Okay. So it is setting the right, like you can see, it's going into up, it's going into down, it's setting none. What are you talking about? Oh, right, there's mute. Okay. So that'll just let me get back to the main menu, so if I ever accidentally end up clicking play again. So it's possible, but unlikely that that belly is like not binding properly. Like if it's doing that, it's because I didn't set it right. Like it's not belly's fault. but I'm just going to go like, please, info, settings, which is just going to be bindings. Did I even put debug on you? No. No, not default. Debug. Don't want to do default because yeah, you end up with weird. Wait. Player key bindings. Didn't I? I thought I just gave you debug. Must have just like immediately Control Z'd it again. Oops. Wait, what am I doing? Outside of maybe coming in here and being all like, we want to be like, C. I feel like I'm gonna do what's like tailwind approach and be all like, I want you to be, space. EVN. Like, I think it's tailwind. That when you like do your CSS and it's like, you can just, it's just got like a million classes that are all like, oh yeah, just do this, do this, do that. And so what you do is be like, dot even, and then you go, this is justify items, space, no, content, space between. No, I need play. Haha, but it works. But, okay. So I pressed W, so that wouldn't help. I pressed S, so obviously it's not assigning something properly. So my question becomes, so we're obviously getting to here, which means we are getting a new key, which is never, you're mutable. It's gotta be that it's setting this back, right? Like, can I be like, info, mid. Alright. Start mid. I just feel like what it's doing is it's just setting it back. Like, and that's what I was trying to avoid with the if this continue, is that it basically was like, hey, if this is you, don't do it. Bad. Anyway, we'll just restart that. And we'll see what happens. Okay, settings. Hey, space. So yeah, that's what I mean by like a tailwind approach. Is that like, could have just sent it, but like, I just like, if I call it even and then you like just tag a whole bunch of them together rather than, okay. So what happened? Well, first off, let's drag this bigger and go, okay, so we've had a few things print out. So mid. Okay, so we started as WS up down. Then we went to up S up down. And then we went back to WS up down. So, no, I'm talking so loud now. That means that the issue is exactly where I said it was going to be, in that it's hitting itself. It's literally colliding with the key that it now matches. So we say, but you're skipping the one you are. So which is even more bizarre because up. So if you were true and true, then you would continue, which means that we just, what? If current, oh, there's that problem. No, we want to say match val, not the old one. That's basically saying if you collide, reset them, which you will always collide because you set it first. So we want to set the collision. Well, it still shouldn't be doing that, like unless I specifically set a key that's already taken, because like you literally can't collide with yourself, which oh no, you should also be val. So if they match, don't get it. Otherwise, check the collision and then. Okay, let's restart. There we go. That was my mistake, is that I pulled val in and then just like didn't really use it. So if it's equal to val, skip it. Current is check the val, get val and then check it. So we go to settings, we go to W and we say like 5, hey, and then we go like Q, and then hey, and we go W, hey, okay. So for those of you keeping track, it took me 2 hours to implement the ability to let the players pick like what key they're going to use. But you can pick what key you're going to use. Also, well, that's not good. That's got to be like a saving memory thing. That like it's not reassigning them when I go back in here. Well, like somehow it's reassigning them. No, up. Wait, that shouldn't be possible. Excuse me. That means I'm definitely not checking something correctly. Okay, so current. So we get old. We pull old from what we're setting. And then we get current from val. And then if current equals 2, then val equals old. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it for now because, like, yes, it's an annoying bug, but I don't feel like spending another like hour tracking down why you're allowed to duplicate ones when I specifically went not to. So maybe we should just quickly work on the actual Pong. So let's go like mod game, and then we're gonna be all like plugin game. Plugin. Alright, so we're gonna say like fn. We want to do something like spawn game scene. Like so. We're gonna give you commands. Okay. You will also need like access to window, which is going to be right. We should probably use the Bevy preload. Okay. Window. Descriptor. size calculations, position, plugin, moved, cursor, focus level. Primary window. Query. Query. Window with besides okay, so all I needed was the width and the height so I can calculate the size. This is very confused because it used to be called like window descriptor or whatever to get your primary window data, but now they made the window a entity, which means you need to query it and then like interrogate that query rather than calling in a resource. Anyway, so what we need to do now is be all like commands.spawn. This is going to be a sprite bundle. It's going to have well, first off, we should almost always wrap these. This is the one thing I don't really like about that new change with Bevy where everything's a bundle. It's like you have to wrap it in parentheses if you want to expand it beyond just a single bundle. So we want to be like name new. And this is going to be like left. Wait, no, your name is left. Paddle. Okay. We probably also want to be like use Bevy Arabia 2D prelude. I don't even think we've chucked that plugin in, have we? So we want to be like, well, I guess no, just some plugin. I thought plugins could add plugins. Yeah. So it's a Bevy Arabia 2D plugin. Arabia Physics plugin. And then is there like a debug plugin? Add plugin. Bevy Arabia 2D plugin. Do you have the... I think you used the 3D version. No, don't look Bevy. I don't know how to spell it anymore. Brain's died. Yeah, so it's alright. So that means I haven't used it there. So basically, I just translate. So I have no idea how to turn on the debug stuff. I'm sure there was something you could. Dynamic math controls render. Debug render. Do you have default system settings? Plugin that represents this for setting up a full Ruby physics image pipeline and resources. This will automatically set up all the resources needed to the pipeline. Okay. Is there something under the prelude? Like debug. Yeah, Repeat debug rendering plugin. knew it was somewhere. Okay. You're probably going to complain because I think you need to be like default. And I think you'll probably also need the default. What do you... always on top, enabled. Wonder if the default is to be enabled. So quick squiz. Yeah, always on top, enabled. Okay. Type annotation needed? What do you mean type annotation needed? God damn it, are we stuck in this bullshit again? You are physics hook by default. What if we say like no user data? Yes, no user data, which is equal to a unit. Okay, then thanks. That was very helpful, Rapier. I appreciate it immensely, you deciding that no user data is just equal to a unit. Anyway, so sprite bundle. We're gonna say that your transform is a transform from translation vec3, which is going to be new. Okay, so your x position now is going to be like x pos equals window dot width divided by 2 times by 0.2. No. Times by 0.8, but then you're like negative x pos. Okay, and then your y position would be 0, and your z position is also 0. So, you know. So then we want to go. Yes, 0.abs. That's exactly what I want to type. What else do we need? We need like your texture. We don't need that. Do you have a background color? Do you sprite maybe? Sprite. Yeah, color. Okay. I think that's all I need. So the color is just going to be color. White. Flips. Subject. Okay. Default. We're going to say anchor is what is this? Right. No, what is anchor? What is it called? This is called an anchor. Huh. Center. Alright. So we need to be like dot. No, I guess insert our plugins dot add underscore add system. I feel like that's spelled wrong. Yeah, it is spelled wrong. Spawn commands. Okay, so then we want to be like dot on no, in schedule on enter games state playing, and I feel like we want to just, because there's going to be lots of things, I don't want to have to nest everything inside everything else, so instead we're going to say component, no, that's a command, component game item. Okay, So then it's just basically going to be like, this becomes a marker, like game item. All right, so that should spawn the left paddle, and then copy this, paste it down here, and then we're going to say this is just Xbox. And that should be the right paddle. The other thing is we need to say that your custom size and your size. Well, what is a custom size? It's just a vec2, isn't it? Yep, it's sum vec2 new. And then we're just gonna say that that is window dot width times by 0.05 and window dot height times like 0.2. So that means 20% of the screen by height and 20% by width. Same with you, except you're not called the left paddle, you're called the right paddle. So what's next? We want to add a hitbox to it. So we want to say rigid body, kinematic, velocity based, cannot be affected by. Probably position based. Then we want to say that you're so you become the same. We want this, and we want to go. You are also a position based kinematic. Okay, so we're kinematic position based. Position. So that's our two paddles, and then we want to say collider. And this is going to be as ball. No, it's going to be a box. No, what? Square? No, cuboid. Is that what they're called these days? Not as cuboid. Cuboid. Half height. Okay, so that would be window dot width times 0.025 and window dot height times 0.1. Okay, so with the debug renderer on, when we click play, I guess we probably want to set up the cleanup method first so we don't break everything. So we're going to say effing clean up game. So cleanup game is going to work like this, where we're going to say commands. And we're also going to say query item, which is going to be entities with game item. All right. Then we're going to do for entity in items capital commands dot entity dot despawn recursive cleanup game. Okay, so then this is going to just be like dot add underscore system cleanup game dot in underscore schedule on not enter, exit. Game state. Playing. Alright, I should probably make some git things of this. So we want to say that no, remove you. We want to say that the the git ignore, the toml, the settings, and not all of. I don't think there's any way to not take all of it. It's annoying. Can I? Okay. If I go and take game out of here, we can go main and menu. Okay, and we want to chuck that in there then, and go added menu, commit. Okay, I gotta remember to get stage shit, especially if I'm gonna break crap, because I do that all the time where I'll like get something working and then be like, yeah, and then I'll gotta change something, and it's like, if I'd get committed, I could have reverted, but I'd break something really bad. Anyway, so we come here and we go, okay. So this will clean up the code when we exit, and then we go here, and we go run. And hopefully this immediately gets another git commit of being like added paddles. They don't move, but if they spawn, that's good enough for me at the moment. It didn't spawn. Well, yeah, it didn't spawn. So we entered. Oh, because we never added the fucking game state game plugin. We never added the plugin. That would explain why it never spawned. Okay, play. Hey, 2 paddles. Okay. I mean, I should probably go here and be all like, enum player 1, player 2. And I'm going to do this in main. Oh, we should probably, again, we should be like this. And be like added paddle. Spawn. Okay. Then we come back here and we go, what were we doing? We added player 1, player 2. Then we're going to do our key bindings. We're still going to call them player 1, player 2. But what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to go. So the players obviously need to be derive, debug, clone, copy, equal, par equal, like that. So that should mean that I can come up here and go player 1, player 2. Grab both of these. And okay. First off, let's go up the top here and just be like, please use players. I will always, and actually I'm gonna just go 1. Okay, so then we want to go up here and we'll be like, so first off, you are also a player. Player 1. Player 2. player 2. Player 1. Player 2. Player 1. Player 2. Okay. Then we just need to go in here into the menu and be all like, tweak this to be player 1. Player 1. Player 2. Player 2. Okay. I don't know why. It's one of those wasted a lot of time because should have done that from the beginning, but instead I didn't. But the main reason I'm doing that now is I want to be able to say that we can be like player. So I'm just going to rename it to player. Player's just player 1. No, this is actually player 2. Why are you bitching with that? Did I not put component on it? I'll put it in a minute. This is player 1. Player 1. Okay, so then we want to come back to main and go player. So this needs a component. Alright. So we can now distinguish between the paddles. We could have used the name, but yeah, that seems expensive comparing for the sake of it. Alright. Especially considering that most of the time we know it's going to be equal, which Bevy has an optimization where it assumes that most of the time the names will not be equal, and therefore if the hashes are different it won't compare the names, but if the hashes are equal. So string compares are only really fast, or name compares, if you expect there to only be a slight chance of a success, and therefore it's only checking a few for the correct, whereas this will every frame check paddle 1. So it's always hitting a success, it's significantly faster than always checking, but an enum will still be even faster. So we're going to say move underscore, fn move underscore paddle. Okay, so this is going to say query, and it's going to be for, so we're going to need the transform. We're going to need the player. Okay. We are going to need the settings, which is going to be res player key bindings. Okay, and we're going to need input. Res input key code. Alright, so we're gonna add underscore system move paddles dot not in schedule, it's in set on update game state playing. There's no real reason to do this in this specific playing state unless I wanted to leave the paddles there when the game's paused, but I think I could also add an AI, but for now, that seems like a Monday thing when I do another stream. Cool. Anyway, so we're gonna go okay, so we need to go to player bindings. We need to so we're gonna be like fn get self player, which is just going to be a player, and this is going to return a key bindings. self match player self dot we're going to get self dot player 1 and self dot player 2. Now I don't remember where we go to rapier and we go the kinematic movement based. I don't remember how you're supposed to do that. Rigid bodies. Okay, so indicates that the body's position must not be altered by the physics engine. The user is free to set its new position, and the body's velocity will be determined at each update to ensure that a realistic behavior of the dynamic body is in with it. This is typically used for moving platforms of elevators. Okay. Okay, so it does appear that if I just be like const paddle speed, which is an F30, 32 equals 100, which tells me that I'm also going to need time. Okay, so let's bring our OBS back up. What are we doing? So basically, for transform and player in mute query. Okay, so the query needs to be mutable. Mute query, we need a mute transform. Okay. So we also need to calculate the paddle size, but okay, maybe I should be all like paddle, and then we're gonna size, which is gonna be an F. No, vector 2. So I'm gonna use to make the paddle its own component, rather than like again calculate the size every time, or just have a constant size or anything. Is that I want to do like power-ups or something dumb, like obviously in the future, because I gotta not feature creep, otherwise but I just think it'll be easier to see like the paddle is this size, because then I'm already calculating it based on the screen size every time you click play. So that would mean that the paddle itself isn't locked in per se. We still need to get the window size, but it means that like I could say like make your paddle shorter, make your paddle thinner, like things like that. So what I need to do is say like let paddle size equal okay, so then we say paddle size there, paddle size there, and then on each of these we're going to say it's a paddle with a size of paddle size. That also means that I can actually get rid of this constant, because I was only doing it because I was like, yeah, easier, but I'm gonna have a struct anyway. I'm gonna speed. This also means that I can change the paddle speeds dynamically, so you might get a power up and it slows down your opponent's paddle, or you might get a power up that speeds up yours. So we're gonna have and then we're gonna have speed, which is be 100. So you're the same. You're gonna be paddle. Size is paddle size, and speed is speed. No, 100. What I could do is make those like from world derives or something. Well, I guess that wouldn't work. But like I could give them defaults. But anyway, so we're gonna here. We're gonna go end paddle. So we have our transform, our player, our paddle, our transform, our player, our query. Okay, so and paddle. So we are also still going to need the window. For now, again, I'm still going to just use the window as to determine the size. But in the future, I will like work on having like a thing so that you could have like borders around that and stuff. But again, for now, it's just not worth the hassle. Let size equal window dot single. Okay, so it's let window equal window dot single, and then let map size equal window. So it's gonna be a vector. Window dot width, window dot height. Okay, so here's our vector 2. So first off, we let inputs keys equals settings dot get player. Cool. No. Player. Okay. Dereference it. Okay. So settings gets the player. Then we're going to say if input dot so we're going to name it let delta equals 0. So I'm going to say if input dot just pressed keys dot move up, delta plus equals 1 dot. Okay, right. Net mute delta. All right. Then we're going to say minus equals 1 if just pressed move down. Okay, yeah, because you're also a float, thank you. So, yeah, delta's never red. So, we move up, we move down. Right. Then we say delta times equals paddle.speed. And then we say transform dot translation equals plus dot still must be y because we're in 2D and therefore z is into the screen. So y plus equals delta. Right, we need to time you by speed. Time dot delta time. Delta seconds. Okay. So okay, we need to make u mutable. Mute. Okay, and then we're gonna say transform dot translation dot y equals transform dot translation dot y dot clamp it between I guess we'll divide you by 2 then. Okay, it's not technically correct because it's not the world size anymore, but it means that like I'm not dividing that by 2 all over the place. So we're going to say map size dot y divide by 2, not divide by 2, minus paddle dot size dot y with height. Okay, yeah. So the paddle's y. So no, you're plus the paddles. So your minimum is that plus the y, and then you would be the map size dot y minus the paddle dot size dot y. I think it's divided by 2, but it would have to be divided by 2 because we're talking like half paddles rather than full paddles. Okay, so what's happening here is we're basically clamping the height that the paddle can move so that it can't move off the top and it can't move off the bottom of the screen. And so because we do it for each player and we specifically grab the keys relating to that player, we check those keys for up and down, means that this logic should work on both players independently. Okay. Okay, play. And it crashed. Why did it crash? Probably missing a resource or something. What do you say? Min, max was nan. Min and max equals. Huh? Okay, wait, min was greater than. Right, because your minimum is supposed to be negative. Negative map size plus paddle. And then hence, yeah. Okay. So what we end up doing is actually like crossing them over because I basically just moved it 1 paddle width the wrong way. Instead of setting 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and half a paddle width in, I set them both at the same point, but the maximum was half paddle width below and the minimum, so it's a full paddle width between the minimum and the maximum. Ding. Okay. Hey, look at that. Okay, so I put... Oh, that's right, they share the same down button. Okay, it's not just pressed, it's pressed. Because we don't want to not move. I might also have to ramp their speed up. Because this feels a little bit slow. Play, and we go. Okay. Okay. So you go up. Yep, we go through the editor. Okay. So we have working paddles. I feel like they should be much faster, but we have working paddles. We can also go to the settings and be like, hey, please stop being the same key. The only issue I have with, because these are kinematic, means that they're purely controlled by user code, and the physics engine has no impact. And I wish
you could tell kinematic shit to still be like, I want you to be affected by gravity, or friction and stuff like that. Like I wish it was like, when I press the button, set the velocity to this if I let go, because then I could make them, because they feel really like weird. Like it's kind of odd because like I feel like I'm pressing them and they're starting to move late, but like I feel like the way to actually correct that would be to give them momentum so that when you stop pressing they keep moving. Like it just feels like they're not quite going as far as I would want them to. Also, if you press both keys it just stops, but that's kind of intentional. I did sum them rather than if them. Anyway, so the idea is that we also need to make them faster, that's for sure. Let's make them 2.5 times faster. Yeah, so anyway, the idea is just that, like, I feel like they would feel better if they had a slight acceleration and deceleration to them. But you can't do that with kinematic without, like, actively programming in your own acceleration and deceleration. You can't, like, be like, hey, physics engine, please take over the dampening, because they're kinematic. They don't respond to physics. They only interact with physics. So, hence, if the ball was sitting on it, it would just stay there. I guess that's what we work on next. So let's go to our get thing and be like, yes, and what did I change? Ah, yes, I changed the player stuff. All right, so we're gonna say made paddle move. Commit. Okay, so I guess the next thing is to go the ball. So one thing I probably want to do is pop over here, I think it is, and go like assets and go like icons. Pretty sure the Bevy icon's in here somewhere. Maybe it must be under textures. Search Bevy .png. It's under textures apparently, but I don't think it's actually there anymore. That's the concerning part. So you reckon textures PNG? Textures. Bevy. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we're going to copy this, take it over here, like assets, paste it in, and go, we are using the Bevy as the ball. So that does mean that, first off, in the game, we need to expand this to include the asset server. Which is going to be a res asset server. All right, so we have our asset server. Okay. And then we're gonna go here. We're gonna go commands.spawn. Okay. So the ball, I feel like, should be proportional to the height. So it should just be like the width times so much, but it should still be round. So this first off, it needs a game item. It's going to also need a transform, which is going to be from translation. No. Yeah. No. You should just start at the 0, 0. It's going to have a sprite. That's what it needs. Sprite bundle. That's what I was missing. So this is going to have a transform. Well, actually, this is going to be in the middle. It doesn't need that. So we just need the sprite. Not a spatial bundle. A sprite bundle. And then we're going to sprite. And then we're just going to say .default. Okay. Okay, sprite. And then we're going to say your color is nothing, your... No, so it must be out here. Your texture is it sum? No, it's just a handle. Okay, handle. It's just asset server dot load Bevy dot png. Okay, and then we're gonna go color. Wait, you don't have a color. No, it's custom size. I'm gonna sum. Vec2. No. Well, it's not gonna be Vec2 splat, which is then going to be window height times by 0.05, I guess. Then we go default. Okay, so struct ball speed, which is going to be f32. Okay, so I mean the thing with the ball is we don't really do that. We just call it the ball because we're just going to tack a velocity onto it. So the only reason we need to even flag it at all is because we need to be able to specifically like control the ball. Maybe not even then. Reconnection successful. Huh. Okay, that's bizarre. Sorry if anyone who was paying close attention then. I appeared to have just like lost internet for a minute. I guess that's Starlink for you. Okay, so we want to go like velocity. And then we want to be like, what do we got? Linear and angular. Okay, so linear. Okay, I'm going to say vec2. No. I wonder how the stream's doing. Apparently I dropped 0 frames despite losing internet, so I don't think I can trust OBS out. That's about the stream health. Anyway, so what we're going to do is fire it. X and Y is going to be if rand thread RNG dot. We should probably do the ball in its own system, but again, once it's set up, then we will. Moment, I'm just trying to make it work. No, we should probably do that. Be all like enum game event spawn sp ball, and then it's gonna have like maybe we've got like random spawn ball player. Okay, and then it's going to pick a player. Okay, so we'll just make some game events like that, then we'll just extract this into its own thing, cut that, and then we're going to go commands dot no, so we would need an event writer. Event writer game event. Alright, so then at the end, right at the end here, we're just going to be like, right, we need to put a, we're going to go event.send spawn game event spawn ball random. Okay, so that'll just get the ball to randomly pop out. Then we're going to go fn spawn ball, which is just going to do that. So we'll need commands, assets server, gen boolean with a 50% probability. Then we want to say like 200 else negative 200. Okay, and then we want to say the y is a rand thread RNG dot gen range from negative like 25 to 25. Oh, no, it's just put the 0 in there, brain. So negative 25 to 25. Okay. So we're gonna need the window height as well. Single. Okay. So spawn ball is also going to read events. So we need event reader, game event. And then we're going to say if event, no, for event in event dot iter if event I guess we should just say match event alright, so and then so basically it's sort of probably needing to run format on this to get it into a state that I can even read it again. On this one we want to say player. We want to say instead it's if player equals player 1 positive, otherwise negative. Why are you saying that they can't be compared? Oh, because you're a reference. So could I do something like player 1 dot equal player? Yeah, okay. So if player 1 equals player you'll give it a little bit of a random kick, but it'll always go towards the player who just lost the point. Spawn ball, to add that as a system. Okay, it also means we don't need the asset server anymore. Okay, so when I come up here, we're going to be like dot add underscore system spawn ball dot in underscore set on update game state playing. Okay. So in theory, when I click play, it'll spawn the ball. The ball will pick a random direction to travel. and a little bit of Y in it, just because I think if the ball's traveling like directly one direction, when it hits the paddle, it'll bounce directly off, whereas if I give it a little bit up and down, it'll hopefully be a little bit more sporadic. Okay, well, it didn't like that. Why didn't it like that? What have I forgotten? Resource for game scene does not exist. Bevy event. Okay, so we need to go to our game, and we need to say dot add event. Game event. All right. Okay. Play. Okay. Oh. I think I forgot to give the ball a collider. Okay. Ball radius. And your radius is this number here. Alright, so what I should do is say like size equals window dot height times by 0.05, and then this is now ball size. Ball size. Ball size. Right, we should probably also give the random ball a collider. That feels like a... This is so much duplicated code that I want to have the match event happen like inside just for the linear. I think what I could do is combine them into an OR, so like spawn ball or spawn ball random, and then check if it's the random variant or not when I'm down here. But it's complicated enough as it is. That seems like a refactor that I can do later just to cut things down. It's like so messy. Okay, so we play. Yeah, okay, so okay. I feel like this is one of those okay. So for one thing, we probably want to spawn colliders and not have logic. You know what I mean? Like because I was thinking like I could put like logic on the ball that's like, oh, if it goes outside of the thing, then you know, reset it. But it's like you don't actually want to do that. What you want to do is go like I want to say that we have added transform, so this is going to be at the position of 0, but it's going to be at a y position of window dot height divided by 2, and this is going to be top wall. Right, so that's our top wall. We should probably just build one wall and then duplicate it rather than fucking around. So it doesn't need a paddle, it doesn't need a player, it does need a cubic, and its width is going to be window height times 0.5, and its height is going to be like, yes, 0.1 will do. It'll just mean that like the ball can't quite, or not height. No, we want to go something like, just give it like a fixed height of like 10, or maybe even 5. It just means that the ball may not be able to get within 2.5 pixels of the top of the screen, or 2.5. Yeah, I guess it's pixels because it's 2D. Top wall This is just a static. Rigid body. Fixed, not static. It's a game item, it's top wall, it's... Okay. So then we want to go copy, paste. This is going to be bottom, and then you're just going to be negative. Alright. So that should give us the top and the bottom wall. And then we can make the backs have sensors that trigger that the ball has gone past. Okay. Oh no! That's gonna require a bit of tweaking. I think that's gotta have something to do with it, like either it's got dampening or something. I need elastic collisions is what that's what that is. It just hit the wall and it was like, yes, I am done now. Because it exerted all its force, but of course the wall is kinematic. It doesn't care how much force you exert, it's never moving. Anyway, we are going to remove your sprite. Why remove its sprite? Because we don't actually need you to be able to see it. We just need it, you know, the ball to bounce off the wall. Not a big white square in the middle of the wall. That's pretty funny. Alright, so what are we doing? So maybe I should go to Rapier and be all like colliders, collision type, shapes. No, we don't want shapes. Convex, self-crossing. No mass properties. Position, no. Friction, we don't want any friction. I don't think it has any friction though. Restitution. Restitution is how elastic, okay, bouncy contact is. The elasticity of a contact is controlled by the restitution coefficient. The restitution coefficient is set to 1. Fully elastic collision impacts that implies that the exit velocity at the contact has the same magnitude as the entrance bounce velocity along with the contact normal. It is also it is as if you dropped a bouncy ball and it gets the track to the same height after the bounce. Restitution coefficient set to 0 immediately set to 0 implies that the exit velocity of the good is 0 as long as the contact along the contact normal. It is as if you dropped a bouncy ball and it did not bounce at all. Okay. Each collider has its own restitution coefficient. This means that when two colliders are in contact, we need to apply a rule that combines the restitution coefficient of the two colliders into a single coefficient that will be used for the constant. The rule is described in the co-neutral rules, enum. Okay, so average, minimum, multiply, maximum. Okay. By default, the average rule is used. Okay, so that implies that if I go here, and go, I'm sure it's, wait, it said it was in the collider, yes? Shape, unscale, shape, scale. Okay. Each collider has its own restitution coefficient. That's actually really cool, because that implies that Rapier, I think I have to set it like this, and it's like, there's a restitution coefficient rules. Wait. This rule is described by the coefficient constraint. Huh. Okay, anyway, what I was saying, what makes this really cool, like the fact that like you can specify like each part of a like multi-part thing. Like if you wanted to make some kind of structure that was really like complicated, that had like multiple like bits and pieces. You could have like a trampoline-y, like buffery bit that if it hits that, it loses all its energy. But if it hits like a brick wall, it'll just ping off. So that'd be pretty cool. Is to have like different parts of a complicated shape have different restitution coefficients, so that depending on where you hit it, so you like it'd be great for like a tennis game where you actually control the racket. It's like if you hit the middle of the racket, it bounces back with way more energy than if you hit like the racket's edge. So you could say like if you hit the racket's edge, you bounce back with 50% the energy, whereas if you hit the racket's center, you might bounce back with 110% the energy. So that would be like a really interesting game mechanic, is to have like each model have different parts. Anyway, spawn the ball. Where are we spawning the ball? And this is just more evidence that I should try and condense this into a singular fucking spawning of the ball, so that I don't have to deal with this. This is getting a bit out of control. Okay. So, they all have a restitution coefficient of 1. This should mean now, when the ball hits, it won't immediately lose all its energy and fall flat. The other thing I can check is like what is the default, because I'm assuming like the Rapier team seem pretty good at like actually making the Bevy in between structs comparable. Oh, there goes the ball. Comparable. So like so the default is 0, and so it's not like the Bevy's default is different from the Rapier's one. Because for those that don't know how the Bevy Rapier works, is it's actually an in-between. So if the component exists, it copies the data from the Rapier. Rapier's, I think it's an anti-component system as well. So it copies it from the Rapier physics engine into the Bevy component. And if you change it in the Bevy component, it uses the change detection and copies it across to the engine, which means that Bevy Rapier is not as efficient as it could be, because it actually technically is running 2 physics worlds, not... You little bastard, you have gravity on. It's got gravity. Okay. Does that mean it must have dampening as well? So first off, fucking... Okay, so the restitution coefficient, yeah, cool. Damping. No, the default damping is 0. Okay. So, for one thing, you insert the fucking physics engine. Physics scale, default system setup true. Sync backend. See, like, so the just stages are like sync, and then step, and then right back. So it actually runs the entire thing in its own sort of thing. And so, yeah, it just checks to see if these components exist. But where is it? Gravity scale. Gravity is the multiplier. So this is registering a type. Is this a component? Before it's applied. So that implies that it is multiplied by the scaling factor before it is applied to the rigid body. Okay. Oh, God. The dogs are going crazy. So that kind of implies that I can be all like, first up, can I go friction? I want to know what the default friction is. Oh, okay, let's do this. Gravity scale is 0, thank you. Okay, let's go friction. Okay, friction. The friction affects the affecting the collider. It should be okay, but like it wasn't touching anything, so let's go with gravity for now, because, and then I'm gonna call it a day because I hear someone arriving. That's probably why the dogs went crazy. So let's just hope this works. And then obviously it's either friction or something, like it's something slowing it down over the time. Yep. Play. It's still got gravity. I probably only applied it to 1. Okay. Anyway. See you next time.
Can I help?
Yeah.